All right, we're going to unpack just 5 lines of poetry from the one and only Langston Hughes. And on the surface, they seem so simple. But trust me, they are hiding this incredibly radical message about exhaustion, about burnout, and even revolution, a message that feels like it could have been written this morning. The poem just drops you right in, no warning. Just this incredible, mythic image. I mean, can you even imagine it? The sheer weight, the impossible heat of the sun, literally held in a human hand. It immediately sets a scale that's both deeply personal and completely cosmic. And here it is, the full fragment from his poem, So Tired Blues. It is just so direct, isn't it? The logic is almost childlike. It's primal. The sun? Well, the sun makes the day start. It powers the work that never ever seems to end. So if you're this tired, profoundly tired, what's the only logical solution? You just get rid of it.
So let's really dig into that central image, this unbelievable idea of holding the sun itself.
This isn't just about being a little sleepy. What Hughes is getting at here is something we could call cosmic exhaustion. It's a fatigue that's so deep in your bones that you feel you have not just the right, but the actual power to reach out, grab the very engine of the universe, and just stop it. So where on earth does a feeling like that come from? For Langston Hughes, this was not some abstract idea. Oh no, this was born from decades of just relentless, real-world pressure. I mean, think about it. Hughes lived through it all. You have the bright, shining hope of the Harlem Renaissance, which then gives way to the brutal reality of the Great Depression. He was constantly on the road, always writing to deadlines, and all the while facing the soul-crushing daily humiliations of segregation. This poem? This is the sound of a man who has reached his absolute limit. And this brings us to a really crucial question. How can a handful of words have such a profound physical and even psychological effect on us when we read them? Let's break down how this thing actually works. It's a fair question, right? It sounds impossible. But the very structure of the poem is almost like a key that unlocks a specific neurological response in your brain. So what's so fascinating here is how the poem actually triggers a physical process inside you. It all starts with the cadence, those short, bluesy lines. They mimic slow, tired breathing, which actually helps calm your vagus nerve. Then, your brain's alarm center, the amygdala, it registers that stated feeling of being overwhelmed, of being tired. And because that feeling is finally named, finally acknowledged, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's always screaming, keep going, don't stop, it finally gets permission to surrender. The poem literally gives your brain permission to accept its own exhaustion. And then, on an even deeper psychological level, the poem is doing something really profound. For a thinker like Lacan, it's all about addressing that fundamental lack of rest in our go, go, go society. For the Jungians out there, it's about facing the shadow of our own burnout, that part of ourselves we always try to ignore, and finally giving it a voice. And that is incredibly cathartic. And this is where it gets wild. This is where a poem from the 1940s suddenly feels like it is speaking directly to you, to me, to our lives right now. The context has changed, sure, but that feeling has not changed one bit. Hughes's world was defined by a very specific kind of grind, right? Relentless wartime production, the deep injustice of a segregated society, the constant background stress of scarcity. It was a system that demanded endless, impossible endurance from people. And just look at the parallel to our world. Instead of factory lines, we have the algorithmic pressure to always be on, always be producing content. Instead of scarcity, we have the instability and the precarity of the gig economy. We live in a culture that actually celebrates burnout like it's a badge of honor. And on top of it all is the heavy weight of social and environmental dread. The demand for endurance is exactly the same. It just has a different name now. We call it hustle. So, this brings us to the poem's final and, honestly, its most powerful interpretation. Because this isn't just about being tired anymore. It's about something so much bigger. It's easy to read this and think, okay, the guy just really needs a nap. But what if the exhaustion isn't just personal? What if it's systemic? What if the whole day is the problem? And there it is. That's the twist. Hurling the sun isn't just about ending one person's very long day. It is a demand to bring down the entire system that is causing this collective exhaustion in the first place. It's a call for night to finally fall on an oppressive age.
There's actually a name for this idea: temporal sabotage. The poem becomes an act of pure rebellion. The speaker is so tired of waiting for change, so utterly impatient for justice, that they decide to grab hold of time itself and literally accelerate it, forcing a systemic nightfall so that a new dawn can finally arrive.
And so we land right back on that final, simple line. But now it resonates with so much more weight, doesn't it? It's the exhaustion of a single person. It's the shared burnout of an entire generation. And it's the revolutionary impatience of people who are just done waiting. It's a declaration that being this tired isn't a weakness. It's the very force that can finally bring a long, oppressive day to its end.